time is seniority, and time is money.
You will have to compete. You will have to justify yourself as a hire.
2024. What are your bets, gentlemen?
Most pilots don't understand what career opportunities are available in the world of aviation. They're making career decisions based on advice from friends or posts on internet forums, meaning they are taking huge risks with their livelihood without having all the details. This podcast was created to help you understand the aviation industry so you can find your dream job. Let's get ready for pushback. Here's your host and my dad, Nick Fialka.
Hey, pilot, it's episode 110, the second part of my two-part series with Bill Sims and Tron Williams from Spitfire Elite. We are looking into 2024 and going to dive deep into what our predictions are. Here's an interesting thing. As we were recording this, the JetBlue and Spirit merger denial was announced while we were recording it. So you will not hear us talking about it as if it had happened yet. We just kind of talk about what if it does, what if it doesn't. But it's really funny because as soon as we hung up and we checked our phones, that was like the top of the news. I hope you enjoy episode 110. We are live on YouTube. I wouldn't really call it live. We are pre-recorded on YouTube, but we are on YouTube. Check it out. And also check out episode 109, also a YouTube show as well. I want to know your feedback. Let me know what you think of this. If you want to see more videos, I'll do it. We're gonna be doing a lot of new things for 2024, and this might be part of it. So let me know what your feedback is. So sit back, relax. Let's get ready for pushback.
You've amassed this huge listener base with this awesomely successful podcast, and I'm grateful that you spend so much time on your 1-year anniversary talking about Spitfire. And I know the Ready for Pushback podcast is part of this process, part of this ecosystem of that is Spitfire. But man, I can't. How do you do it? Like, I think your listeners want to know more about Nick. How do you've got 5 kids. You're a captain who, by the way, you went through upgrade training while producing the #1 aviation podcast in the world. Is that a true statement?
Yeah, by some stretch, yeah. That's crazy, huh?
Right? How did you do it? No, don't, how did you do that? Like, how do you come up with material for your solo episodes? Like, how do you do it?
I literally have a notes thing right here on my phone. Look, this is solo episode ideas. This is all solo episode ideas. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see me scroll through all these different ideas. And these ideas, first off, like I actually just wrote down, you don't know what you don't know. So that will be one of the solo episode. You just said it and I agree. And I'm going to just figure out how to write an episode about that. And I love it. So I spend a lot of time on this. So how do I do it? Anna, the end. Anna is how I do it. She is amazing and generous.
Anna is amazing. Nick's wife, Anna, is amazing. I don't know how you're able to do what you do and have the impact that you do, but yes, she's awesome. But Nick, and I think I have a theory for listeners out there who don't know Nick. I call it the chapters of Nick. He's the most interesting man in the world. Like, seriously, Hollywood, please come interview Nick and do a script on his life. The guy has owned an RV park and built it to be the most successful RV park in all of Florida, had the most reviews of any RV park. And you know what? His secret to success? He cared about people. He cared about his residents. And no matter who they were or who they are or what they were mad about, he took good care of them. And then he also worked at the other end of the spectrum of life, I would say. He worked at Booz Allen Hamilton as a high-powered consultant. He's been been in combat. He's been knighted by the Crown Prince of Ethiopia. You're a knight, dude. Like a real like it's all funny. I'm Sir Nick. No, you really are Sir Nick. So I think that bevy of experience, you're able to provide tremendous insight. Like when I listen to your solo episodes, I just about being a better human, or you tell me today to do this one thing today, I go out and do it. And I'm like, yeah, dang it, Nick was right again.
It's true. It's true though. It just like, and that's, I was actually almost a Catholic priest as well. So that was,
Yeah. Most interesting man in the world. Come
yeah.
on,
But that,
Hollywood. It's right here for the taking.
I don't,
Netflix, where are you?
I only say that to say, like, with the solo episodes, I feel like my heart is in the right place, right? I just want you guys that are listening to have something actionable that you can do today to keep yourself moving forward, right? I think one of my first episodes was about inertia, and
Yeah.
that and I just keep coming back to that. I just keep coming back to that because you need that. And I get but, I get all the my LinkedIn is exploding. I hit this inflection point where, like, all of a sudden tons of people found me on LinkedIn. I and then but all the Facebook and the Instagram and the this and the that and when people wrap me up and want to know, they have a question or they wanna reach out or they just wanna say hi, but I'm intentional to respond to each person, and also because I feel like we're all in this together, and the whole idea of the aviation world is that it is a community, and I think about my passengers are part of my community for the afternoon, which is why before every flight, I'll go up to the gate and I'll pick up the microphone and I'll say hi to them, and I'll tell them what to expect for the flight, and ask him and I tell usually I pick a word of the day, and yesterday's word of the day was grace because it was weather, and I, like, give my flight attendants a little bit of grace because they have a lot of people to handle. It's gonna be bumpy, it's gonna be difficult. I appreciate it. We're all together. And so all of that whole part of the community, and that's why what we do at Spitfire, it's why I wear the shirt, right? Is because we are that community and we get to spend time together. And I'm terrified about leaving the squadron. I never want to leave the ready room, right? I love the camaraderie that we get to have. And this is me just having that camaraderie every day. I even listen to my own podcast, which I think is probably pretty weird, but I do. Um, you know,
Well, I got one. I was For those that don't know, Nick, Bill, and I lived at one point within like 15 miles of each other, and Nick was getting ready to leave, ready to head out to California. And I'm an empty nester. I was a new empty nester at the time. Both my kids had left, and I went over to Nick's for something, but he was getting ready to get out of town.
mhm.
And I'll tell you, he'll talk to you about how he serves the people that he works with, people in the aviation community. I will challenge you one further. I was having just a bad day missing my kids. I talk about that on a regular basis. Like I was so invested as a parent. And then I roll by Nick's, and Nick's daughter and my dad, you've heard her voice before on the podcast, just loved me up for like 15 minutes just through her interactions, the way she smiled. She reminded me of Nick so much that I just had, she was sunshine to me in just a very short period of time. I tell you, you know a lot about a person by where they put their time and their money. And because it's investments. And Nick will talk to you all day and he'll stiff arm and say, Anna, and he'll do this. But I met a person who was a younger version of Nick. You could tell that he had made that investment in her because she was freaking awesome and she loved me up and it made my so hey, we're all buds and I just wanted to give people the opportunity that listen to him on a regular basis to know how freaking awesome this guy is. And so yeah, that's it. That's it.
I gotta get rid of my 4K camera. That's not fair.
There's something awesome there.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Kate's great. Burns great. Versati's great. Blaze is great. Titus is great. I remember that moment, and that's important. That's Kate all day. That's her all day. And except when she's fighting with Bernadette because they share a room. But that's the beauty of being sisters, and I love that. I'm thankful, man. I'm filled with gratitude. So, all right. Speaking of touchy feely, let's talk about 2024
Uh-oh.
because it's gonna be
Good
rough,
transition.
Uh-oh.
y'all.
Thanks, mood killer. Now,
Oh, I appreciate you guys so much, man. I think this is great. And this is like usually for for those of you that like, if I'm on the Bill will call me and it'll just say stand by for the merge, and and all of a sudden it'll be all three of us on the phone. It'll be like, and Anna will know. She's like, oh, this is gonna be an hour because we have a lot to talk about. We have a lot that goes on, but we also are just such good friends, and that's just the best part of it to me. Because I certainly, if like no way would I do this on my own. So happy to be part of that team. This is good. It's very good. So 2024. What are your bets, gentlemen?
Well, Nick, I think the most of my bets come from conversations from you and your perspectives. So I would just be stealing your thoughts. So what do you think about 2024?
All right. Here's what I think. I didn't pay him to say that, by the way. Here's what I think. First off, I want to triple my listenership this year, as far as the podcast goes. And I think that this is the year to do it because it's going to be tough. And it is January of 2024 right now. We have learned that Delta is cutting their hiring by half. So it's now 100% harder to get to Delta. You have the GTF engine problems going on with the Airbuses. So Spirit said no way. They're not hiring this year. You've got Frontier with the ULCC market is struggling, and it will continue to be on the struggle bus this year as domestic demand continues to decrease. And so I can see Frontier. Their RTP guys. I believe they've already staved them off for and like, hey, stand by for an email. We're not ready to hire you just yet. And I can see that growing. The ULCC market will be tighter. They're also switching over to that Allegiant model where it's just they're not doing hotels, it's just out and backs. So if you are currently commuting to Frontier, you're ready to go. I know because they're all calling and they're talking, where should I go? How should I get out of here? And so if you commute to Frontier, you're out of here. So you've got let me keep going. You've got American reducing their number by 20%, 15%, something like that.
Yeah, it's a small number. We were forecasting 2,100 pilots. Now we're American is saying about 17 to 1,800. But that trend, that downward trend, is interesting, especially looking at our retirement or the American retirement schedule, which is bananas. I mean, it's still a lot of hiring, but the downward trend, even at American, who has that huge, to me is worth paying attention to, and it'll be interested to see if it goes down further.
And I'll be talking soon to Justin Ritter as well to talk. I haven't really sat down with him to talk about United's numbers yet, but I can imagine them being at least. I don't imagine them rising from where they were last year, which was about 2,200, 2,300 possibly, but
Yep,
I can't imagine that continuing. You have Southwest, which said that they're currently not interviewing. Is that correct?
that's correct.
Yeah.
They just, in fact, they canceled interviews. They had some on the books. They canceled them, sent an email out. They're pausing hiring right now, and they're pushing back some start dates over the next couple of months.
JetBlue is my big question mark for the year. If this merger does not go through with the way their stock prices have gone down, like that could be a really, really bad scenario for that company because they owe I want to say it's a $400 million payout if the merger doesn't go through. That was one of the carrots they gave to Spirit. And so if it does go through, we're all cool. But if it doesn't go through and there's like trepidation, like JetBlue could be in bad shape. I don't want to speculate on that, but I think about it. I think about what that could mean. Then you've got did I hit everybody else? I think Allegiant will kind of keep the status quo this year. And Breeze, I love David Neeleman. I think Breeze is. It all depends. It really depends on their fundraising and how well they're doing because they lost $175 million, I think, last quarter. But it's great company. growing new markets still. And so, so you have this big thing going on. And it's going to be way harder this year to get a job. If people start leaving Frontier, they're because they don't want to commute, you have more pilots in the pool than you did before. You have military pilots leaving. You have all these people that started flight schools 2, 3, 4 years ago that are at regionals right now that are coming up on their time. And so there's going to be a lot more pilots to choose from for a lot less seats. And as these seats keep getting pulled away, you are going to have to go harder in the paint. The end. And like you need Spitfire, and you need to be better than at any other time. It was the high watermark last year. And then, oh man, age 67 pops off. Bro, it's
Yes.
over.
I will tell you some insiders at American are now nobody knows.
Nobody
Nobody
knows.
knows. But I believe there are people now betting just in their individual roles, not a company position. I don't know that. I'm not that privy to the information, but it appears that planners are betting towards 67 going through and making detailed plans if and when it does go through to be able to execute. So, yes,
The people
definitely going to impact the need for hiring. How much? We could have a whole episode debating that and still not know, but it will impact it for sure.
the people I speak with that are very much in the know are very bullish on 67. I'll just say that.
Okay.
I'm just going to say that.
Nick knows some people in high places. I'll leave it at that.
Hey, pilot, did you just get a new conditional job offer? Are you getting out of the military and going to move your family across the country? Are you going to move in base somewhere, or are you going to go out to find that second home that you've been looking for? Well, I want you to stop right now, pick up the phone, and call Marty and the team at Trident Home Loans. It's an organization that's run by pilots. They understand pilot pay. They understand contracts. They understand military. They have the best VA loans in the United States. Marty and his team have been doing mortgages for years. They've been doing my mortgages for years. I trust him and his team more than any other organization. I challenge you to get a better deal anywhere else. Go ahead, reach out, get a mortgage quote, and then call Marty and his team. They will walk you through the process and show you how competitive their rates are. So go right now, tridenthomeloans.com, and check them out. Timothy P. Pope is a certified financial planner dedicated to guiding professional pilots through smart financial planning. Whether it's saving for retirement, investment management, a seamless military transition, or strategic tax planning, Tim is your trusted financial partner. Also, you can join Tim as he leads engaging discussions on personal finance and strategies for professional pilots on the brand new Pilot Money podcast. Timothy P. Pope, helping professional pilots make the most out of life. So, if it does, first off, it's a 2-year stopgap. I want you guys to chill out, but I want you to be ready as hard as you can. Like, you know how I said it was my second job? Like, it needs to be your primary job to get ready. And that's it. I mean, that's what I see. I also see, like, because we are also preparing for the intensity too. We talked to that a little bit.
Yeah, I can talk to it. I mean, I think that we've seen all types of trends, right? We've seen the pilot with very little time to where you're like, wow, I'm surprised that you are competitive. I'm extremely happy that you are, but this industry has its ebbs and flows, and I believe that we were definitely at a high watermark last year. I think that we're postured very well because we've just continued to invest in ourselves. Coming up this year, we've invested in a program that will allow us to take trip reports from our clients. We said we do about 200 a month, and now we're going to be able to feed that into some AI technology and allow you to practice interviewing where you are eliminating your uhs, your ums, you are getting tone and pacing. This company actually started to produce, help people with um, people that were actually doing Toastmasters, English as a second language, helping people get prepared for TED Talks. And so now we are in a position to where we can help people be better communicators. Promise you that. When you talk about investing in a company, like what are you going to get? You will be a better communicator with Spitfire. And so excited about some of those things for people in the future. Truth of the matter is you're just going to have to compete. You are going to have to compete. You're going to have to be able to articulate your story, especially if you have minimal time, because ultimately we have to justify you as a hire, right? We're cutting back. We're doing all of this. These cutbacks, all these things are happening. So how do we justify a person with 1,500, 1,700 minimal qualifying time as a good hire? How do you do that? Well, you are going to have to articulate your story in a way that is significant and better than everyone else. And so it's a new time for people that are getting into the interview space, but gone are the days where you're going to be able to make minimal investments in yourself. Um, Gone are the days. It's just significantly more competitive. About of college references when it comes to playing football. You're not competing for the quarterback position where there's only one ball, but we're getting close. We're getting close. They're not going to have to hire everyone, and those with uh, minimum qualification. I'm not going to say that you're not going to get hired. I'm just going to say you're going to have to articulate your story in a way that justifies you in a hire as a.
There's still reason to celebrate in 2024. Delta going to only, what is it, 1,000, 1,100, whatever it is they advertise, is still gangbusters by any other year's standards except for 22 and 23. But even in Americans' numbers, United's numbers. But I will caution people, there's this opening, one of the first videos you'll see when you sign up for Spitfire is me actually yelling at you, giving you the business. Okay, it's called it's called Tough Talks. It's like, I can only imagine that from the perspective of a client. It's like, I just gave you all this money for you to talk to me this way, but I'll give you a little window into it. What I want you to know is that you're not special. You deserve nothing. And a lot of times this speech is reserved for the military clients who you just, you work hard, you're entitled to the upgrade. You work hard there, you're entitled to the instructor position. You work hard there, you're entitled to the evaluator position. And then you work hard there, you're entitled to a job at American or Delta United. No, you're not that special. You're not that important. Sorry. They hire who they want, period. Which means you need to invest the time and effort into making sure you're doing everything you can to meet their needs, to that airline's needs and what they're doing. So the good news, we're still hiring pilots in 2024, especially at the major passenger carriers. The bad news is it's a lot less. So if you're out there and you know somebody that was hired in 22 and 23 and you have the opinion that, oh, well, they got hired, I'll be good. That's not true anymore. Okay. You got to compete. It's just like it was, 6 years ago. It's like, shoot, man, I'm competing against astronauts and Blue Angels and, people at regional airlines that manage the whole fleet departments. I got to compete against them. We're back to those days. So like Tron said, that they still want to hire you, but there won't be anywhere near, they don't need to hire you like maybe they did in 22 and 23. So now they get to be more selective. And there's just fewer jobs collectively. I mean, there were people that maybe they wanted to be at airline A, but they went to airline, a different airline, got hired there. Now they're happy there. Well, now that airline stopped hiring. Now there's just a few left. Okay. So if you want to get hired in 2024, it's definitely more competitive. You need to work harder. You need to invest in yourself more. And, yeah, and it's going to be interesting. You mentioned age 67, Nick. There's a lot of, don't mean to be total doom and gloom, but there's people out there. It's like, all those, most of them are going to retire anyway. I say not so fast. Okay. If you're about to turn 65, by the way, everybody I want to talk to, every pilot, every captain always says they're going early. They never go early. And
the money's too good.
and that's bingo. the contracts that have come out in the last year to 2 years are so lucrative. Think about, imagine it's you. You're about to turn 65. The money you can make in that last 2 years, you've already met your number. You're already set for retirement. But remember, it's a job you love. It's a dream job. I'm not speaking for everybody, but I'm speaking for me and I'm speaking for most. This is a good job. It's a good career. And I'm still doing it at 65. I'm still capable of doing it another 2 years. You know what that does for me in retirement? It's all the luxuries. Yeah, I've met my retirement number for my needs, but you give me another year or two, it's all luxuries. Now I can do the 30-day cruise. I was just going to do a 10. Okay.
It's literally $1
That's
million.
what's coming.
It's
Yeah.
literally $1 million.
It's literally $1 million in 2 years. That's so don't plan on getting hired as easily as your buddy did in 2023. Don't plan on everybody at, half the population that's 65 who could stay retires. My my bet is the majority of them stay. And look, I know this isn't a popular opinion. It's their career. They've earned it. They've got the longevity. They've put it there. They deserve it. So
They've also
as
had
long
a
as you're
miserable experience throughout their career with all the downs.
for sure. The lost decade, the plan for a pension that's no longer there. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Absolutely.
I'll give you another perspective. I'm a captain. I'm not going early. Just
No way.
not. I'm not. I enjoy flying. It's good to be able to get away, go do something different, go see another city. And at my company, the schedules, probably like yours as well, schedules just get better. You just
Yeah.
make more money and work less. So I think when people sit down, they get old and get tired and die too.
Tron,
No,
how many days
I
off do
want
you
to keep working.
How many days off do you have this month, Tron?
This month I have how many days are there in January?
31 days.
31
Yep,
days.
31 days
Never
off
mind.
this month.
He has 31
Yeah,
days
so
off. I can vouch for it.
I've been off since I think the 19th of December.
FedEx, please call Tron and make him go to work because he calls me every day. Let's make Spitfire better today. Let's do this today. Let's go. I'm not off 31 days. I'm only off 15 days. No, 16 days this month, Nick. So I'm sorry. I just
I'm off
I gotta
17
well,
days.
I think I just got a text from FedEx. I have to dispel the rumor. Like they want me. It's doom and gloom. So I gotta forget that I have a good job. I gotta keep pretending that I'm getting ready to go to up or
You say,
something.
all right. Oh my gosh.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, but the back to that 67 will be very interesting, and the people that say that the ICAO will prevent that, and they're going to have to revamp everybody from the wide bodies to the narrow bodies and this, that, and the other. What if they both are lockstep together? What if the FAA and ICAO decide in a backroom deal? Not saying it could happen, but could happen.
Well, they did it from 60 to 65.
Yeah.
They were pretty much in lockstep, if I understand correctly. And I'm repeating that secondhand, so feel free to fact check me. But that's my understanding of it. And why wouldn't they? I'll tell you, I don't think bringing everybody who's on a wide body and retraining them into narrow body is palatable from an operational perspective and training perspective, especially with the retirements numbers the big passenger carriers are seeing right now. So that will be interesting to see.
It will be, and that will sort itself out. So really what it comes down to is if you're not getting, what do you, Tron, you like to say, it's better to be ready than to get ready.
Correct. Be ready so that you don't have to get ready.
All
Because the windows may be small now. And I wasn't going to say this, but another unintended consequence of this competitiveness, there's an opportunity for a little bit of humility here. Right? Last year when everyone was hiring, the one struggle I'd have on the phone was this sense of entitlement that I've got my 1,500 hours and I'm supposed to get hired. Oh my God, I've served.
all day. All day.
And it's the one thing about the industry that I was starting to hate in that bill. That's why I still answer the phone. So that we can mitigate that foolishness. But truth of the matter is that's what 2024, that's the positive unintended consequence. You will not be able to show up and act as if you are entitled to anything. You will have to compete. You will have to justify yourself as a hire, and the fact that you have met minimum requirements and they have called you gets you gets you to the door, and it's like the pearly gates, like it's still kind of hard to get in. So you gotta earn your way on in there. So that part is the one thing I am excited about for 2024, to continue to encourage people um, to approach this industry with a bit of humility. Did you guys happen to see another note? Did you guys happen to see the United Aviate program was actually they did an advertisement on during the Dallas Cowboys game. So we're talking big time prime TV. You know, there's kids on there flying Cessnas, and they're talking about, hey, there's a pilot shortage, and United wants to grow, and so on and so forth. So I thought that that was very interesting that this is happening in this timing. But I think what it tells a younger person is, hey, I just got to go get 1,500 hours and I can go fly at the majors. And I'm not sure that was the intended.
Cowboys fans love pilots. That's what I learned from that ad.
Well, they got to love something, because it's hard to love that team, especially today. I live in this day right now.
That's all right. Stick with your team. Don't give your team up. And that's how I feel. Stick with your team. Don't give your team
That's
up.
right.
That's us. And that's so good.
Can I just one takeaway from all of that, Nick, is advice to the listeners out there. You know, you can still get hired in 2024, but full court press on getting better a little bit every day. So that's not just more hours. That is not the only metric of whether you're marketable or not, is how many hours are on your resume. Interviewers love to talk about your volunteer activities. They love to talk about your things outside of airplanes so they can better get to know you. So continue to develop those. If you have nothing, make it your goal in 2024 to have impact somewhere else on something else, and if it's the local animal shelter, that's great. Go then have something to talk about. I I would encourage you to go invest in other humans, but you do wherever your passion takes you, because I think the feedback you get from helping other humans get a little bit better not only is very rewarding, but gives you a lot to talk about in these interviews if you were asked about it. So keep getting better, and good things await. It's still a dream job.
and you better network yourself like you've never networked. The end. Network.
Go to
Hard.
every conference. Go to
Every-
every conference. I know they're expensive. Room with somebody. Okay. Drive across country. Go to the conference. Good things come. If you don't get hired on the spot, they know that you were there, and good things happen. Okay. Like, go to the conferences.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm trying to go to all the conferences. I'm a junior captain, so I work every weekend. I have to juggle my schedule just to get the days off, but I try hard too. So, um, this year is going to be fun, and we've got a lot in store, and we have a lot coming on the podcast, and we've got a lot going on at Spitfire. And just because you hear this now, by the time it comes out, more things have changed. And so get onto our email list, get yourself subscribed to the show, get yourself networked, get a good suit, get a haircut, all the things, and you'll be successful and have that positive mindset to know that you can do it. Not that you deserve it, that you can do it. That's what I want to tell them. Guys, thank you for spending an hour and 16 and a half minutes with me. This was awesome.
Good stuff, Nick. Hey, congrats to you, Nick, on a 1-year anniversary to go from zero. And that's what I think's lost in all of this. You haven't been doing this for 5 years, and it's only now become the number one podcast. You started from zero on January 26th, I believe, 2023, your first episode. And now hundreds of thousands of downloads. You've got sponsors knocking on your door wanting to sponsor this. I mean, Congratulations, Nick. That's unbelievable what you've done with this in a year.
Let's go twice,
Nick,
3 times as big, right?
let's do it. Nick, I like to liken it to the every club is usually okay when you first go. Like you can get some people there and they can show and you get the party jumping and it's like, oh, it's the new club. But oftentimes there's a grand opening and a grand closing that happens in less than a year. So thank you very much for what you do for people. Thank you for keeping the party going. We appreciate you, Nick. My guy.
All right, guys. Well, that'll wrap it up for us. Next year, it's going to be even better. Let's keep it going. Hey, before you jump out of here and go on to the next podcast, can I ask a big favor? Would you mind going over to your app that you're listening to this podcast on and give me a review? Give me a 5-star review if you love it. Give me a 1-star review if it totally sucks. Put a comment in there, something that is helpful. It helps me. It helps get the word out there. It helps people find the podcast, and that's super cool. If you don't do that, maybe you could just share the podcast with a friend. Tell a buddy who's trying to figure it out, trying to sort out this pilot dream of theirs and get a little bit further. That is super awesome as well. Last, if you don't do either of those two things, how about this? Find a way today to make yourself 1% better. Do that thing that you've been putting off. Put your foot forward, make movement, get yourself going, get that inertia that you need to succeed in this industry. So that's your choice. Leave a review, tell a friend, or make yourself better. Either way, it's all a good choice. And I'm super stoked you're listening, and I will see you on the next episode. The statements made on this show are my own opinions and do not reflect, nor are they under any direction from my employer.